Yemen, one of the oldest and poorest countries in the world, is now facing another challenge. A northern-based militia called the Houthis have now taken over the capital Sana'a and advanced onto South Yemen. It triggered Saudi-led airstrikes. The president of Yemen is now in self-imposed exile in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia. BBC Arabic asked veteran Middle East journalist Ghaith Abdel Ahad to tell his exclusive story. He spent months on the ground in South Yemen before the Saudi strikes. This film tells the story of 1 week when the south of Yemen briefly imagined they could defeat the Houthis, break away from the north, and rule their own independent southern state.
The week starts on March 19, 2015. Expanding from the capital Sana'a, the Houthis are trying to take over Aden airport in an attempt to control the south. Armed southerners and factions of the army are rushing to the airport to fight the Houthis. I joined a group of them at the front line.
احنا بخير هم الان جنب الباب 3 دبابات في مقدمه راحت شالت الجزء الاول من الحسيات.
This is Abdurrahim al-Awlaqi. He's a good friend of mine. I've spent many weeks following him. He's a member of a group called the Hirak. It's a southern secessionist movement against northern rule. Now he's a militia commander. Abdurrahim rallied dozens of his men to join the fight. The South have rejected any rule by a northern alliance of the Houthis and forces loyal to ex-president Ali Abdullah Saleh.
سنقتلعها من داخل اليمن ومن داخل عدن ورحنا عاصمتنا عدن أرض الجنوب أرض الأحرار.
What was fascinating for me in this battle, it's the first time I see in the south, and especially in Aden, all the different components fighting together as one front. I saw civilians, I saw loyalist army units, I saw separatist members of the Hirak movement.
After 7 hours of fighting, the Hirak and loyalist army units were able to take back the airport. For Abdurrahim and the southern fighters, this was a moment of euphoria. The dream of independence was coming. But this wasn't the decisive victory the Hirak were hoping for. Civil war is coming. But to fully understand South Yemen and the Hirak, you must go back in history. Abdurrahim and the Hirak weren't always armed. They used to believe in non-violent resistance. 2 years ago, I spent several months in the south, following the daily protests of the Hirak. This is when I first met Abdurrahim. The south first tried to secede from the north in 1994, causing a civil war. Abdurrahim was only a teenager then and had to flee Aden. When he returned, he immediately joined the Hirak. At the time, he thought non-violent revolution against the Yemeni government was the only path to independence.
احنا في الجنوب كحراك جنوبي
انتهجنا النهج السلمي، لا عندنا القوة العسكرية حتى القوامهم مثلا. نحن شعب كنا دولة، نريد نستعيد دولتنا زيها زي تركيا، زي لبنان، زي الأردن، لا نريد دولة يعني قبلية متخلفة، أو لا نريد يعني دولة ملكية يعني أنا وبس.
The Hirak tried a whole range of methods, from strikes to sit-ins to protests. Al-Hirak was a protest movement that started long before the Arab Spring and continued its struggle as a peaceful movement for 7 or 8 years. Until 1990, North and South Yemen were two separate countries. Corruption and misrule after unification led many southerners to reject San'a's rule. The Hirak chose the flag of the pre-unification state as a symbol of their resistance. Like all movements, the separatists needed a symbol, and the symbol was the flag of South Yemen. The old South Yemen, that was a communist government, they used that flag with its red star, with the blue triangle, as the symbol that everyone kind of gathered around. Technically speaking, up until now, you would be detained, arrested if you waved the flags of the separatist movement. That's in theory. In reality, the flag has taken over the city. The Yemeni government, rejecting their calls for secession, responded to the Hirak with brutal force. Every Friday, I attended a funeral. Nada Hussein, a 15-year-old girl, was shot dead by the security forces. The funeral quickly turns violent. The mourners climb up the hill towards the soldiers, who open fire. Many here say the government's violent reaction alienated the population.
ما تخافي هنا يضربوه من داخل البيت، من داخل المنزل يضربوه كمان. دائما تروح على النار دائما. شو الجنود محتلين، هذا احتلال، هذا احتلال العالم العربي.
A human shield was created for us to continue filming. I think from Abdurrahim al-Awlaqi to everyone else, they agreed on one thing, which is their hatred towards the North and the need to reclaim back their state. What is the shape of that state? What are the means they would pursue to achieve that state? They kind of been always in disagreement. That's been the biggest problem of the separatist movement. They've been so disorganized, they've been so fragmented. With the battle over at Aden airport and their victory complete, the unity of the southerners begins to disintegrate. They start to loot a nearby military base. Streams of looters take weapons, ammunitions, and even bed mattresses from the base. And that's exactly what happened in Iraq. In 2003, I stood there and I saw the people of my city looting the city. And then I saw it again in Aleppo, and I saw it in Libya, and I saw it in different places. To understand why people loot, we have to go back to the oppressive regimes in Iraq and Syria and Libya and in Yemen, and how they treated their people, how they stole all the wealth and put all the wealth in form of ammunition. I mean, Aden, one of the poorest Arab cities, had so many military camps, and you can't ask someone who has been unemployed for years to not take a box of ammunition, because that box of ammunition would be worth all the salaries that he can get in the next year. There was a calm in Aden. Everyone was waiting for the next Houthi attack. The calm didn't last long. It is the 24th of March. Hirak militias and Hadi loyalists are preparing to defend the strategic Al Anad air base on the historic border between north and south. The Houthis and forces loyal to former President Ali Abdullah Saleh are marching towards the base. Abdul Rahim al-Awlaqi and his men are preparing to join the fight.
احنا مهمتنا مهمة هجوم نخليه معسكر قدام احتلاله نبى رجال صامدة نبى رجال دور الشهادة نبى رجال بتخضر الأرض هذا هو
الموت احنا رايحين مش راجعين الموت ولا المذلة.
The Minister of Defense, Mahmoud al-Subayhi, is at Al Anad base calling for reinforcements.
الصبيحي متقدم عليه طلب رجال اللي بتهاجم مش اللي بتدافع والله اللي معك مسألة تعال الحقني يا اخوي هيا جيبوا لي السيارة تنقل
جيب لي رجال بنادقها. المهم اللي بيقول بنادقهم الان البنادق ما فيش لما بيجي السلاح بيعطي كل واحد حقه. عادل 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 يا عادل كم نفر عندك الان امر شلهم؟ عم بالك هلا المحطة قول المحطة ها؟ ايوه كلهم معي كلهم.
Abdul Rahim gathers over 50 of his men and heads to the front line.
الو احمد لا ما عليك احنا الان جبنا قوم كبيرة وبنتقدم.
Abdul Rahim takes many of his family members with him.
هذا ابن عمي خلي بالك.
The sun was setting by the time we moved towards the base. Driving to Al Anad, the men didn't even have bullets loaded.
عند المعسكر كل واحد تعطي له رصاصة، كل واحد تسدد الحين قبلهم من الجنان، تمام. عند المعسكر وزعوا الرصاص على الناس.
But the convoy was heading for disaster.
ايش في؟
الدبابة هذا حقنا ولا حقك؟
داخل المعسكر.
ارجع
We had driven straight into a Houthi front line. Caught by surprise, I ran into a ditch with some of Abdul Rahim's men.
هذا قتل ولا ايه؟ وين هنا؟ طلعوا لي باسل ولا باسل؟ يا باسل صيحة يا باسل. وين باسل؟
باسل من؟
صيحة يا باسل.
In the darkness and confusion, Abdul Rahim tries to locate his men.
يا ابو بكر عنتر وينه عنتر؟ على ابوهم على دف النور اقطعوا الخط اللي يشوفوا اصحابنا اقطعوا الخط.
Gathering whoever he can find, Abdul Rahim retreats.
الو يا اخي احنا في العناد الان معانا ضرب اطلاق نار اشتباكات بعدين بكلمكم. يا اخي احنا في العناد الان.
This is the first time I see Abdul Rahim panicked, confused, and even scared.
الو ايش يقولوا الناس ما فيش مقدمه لا تقدموا.
The southern forces now collapse. They are in disarray. Turns out there were no troops. There were no front line. That night when Awlaqi withdrew, half of his men lost in the desert, making frantic phone calls, there were no defensive lines.
وينكم؟ لحظة بوقفهم لحظة. وين انتوا؟ يا وحيد حصلتوا العيال. وين عنتر؟ واثق وين واثق؟ امك يا Hello.
Within 24 hours, the base would be under Houthi control. The Minister of Defense, Subaihi, would be their prisoner. Anad, the biggest military base for the south, where Subaihi was crumbling from within. So the collapse of Aden, the collapse of the Hadi rule, wasn't actually only done by the Houthis approaching and the military might of the Houthi, but it happened from within, because like a house of cards, it was built on nothing. I head back to Aden. The city is defenseless. The streets are deserted. The popular committees have fled. Splinter factions of the Hirak take control of their streets. Thousands of young men have now picked up arms. They joined dozens of small militia units scattered around Aden. The same factionalism that has beleaguered the Syrian revolution was now evident in the streets of Aden. Between peaceful demonstrators come commanders. Everyone didn't trust the others and everyone wanted to become the ultimate leader. But basically, no one controlled more than 2 streets. The Hirak is now playing sectarian songs, calling on the southerners to kick out the Shia, calling them heretics. The battle is no longer just a geographic one between north and south. It has now become sectarian. Everyone is trying to flee the city that was for a brief moment the capital of Yemen. I'm following a convoy of Gulf state ambassadors. They had come to open embassies in the new capital Aden. Now they're racing to the port to flee by sea as the city descends into anarchy. Even Abdurrahim, disillusioned, decides to leave. His dreams of an independent southern state are crushed.
لو كلامك قبل سنتين كنتوا يدعمون القضية الجنوبية ما كان وصلنا إلى هذه.
نعم، لو كان دعم القضية الجنوبية ما وصلنا إلى المرحلة. لو كان أعطوا الشعب الجنوبي حقه أو لا يمكن أن يوصل إلى هذا المرحلة. لو أعطوا الناس حقوقها في اليمن الشقيق ما وصلنا إلى هذا المرحلة.
Abdurrahim heads for the port and exile to Djibouti. Aden is in complete chaos. The situation is so precarious that from one street to another, you cannot tell who is in control.
هذه سياراتهم ولا سيارتنا؟ هذه أصحابنا. هذا أصحابنا اللي حواليها.
The Hirak, now calling themselves the Popular Resistance, are fully armed. They have set up checkpoints to search and arrest anyone they suspect of being a northerner or a Houthi. A sense of xenophobia grabbed the street. All the northerners became Houthis. Every northerner is an enemy. And we saw them detaining people, we saw them putting them in prison, taking them for questioning. To be a northerner in Aden became a crime.
هذول كلاب هذه سياراتهم. هات وهذه ملكيات السيارات. مران صعدة. الكلاب بندبحهم ذبح. السلاح اللي كان داخل.
They've captured the car. with an ID card identifying the owner as a member of the Ministry of Interior and the Houthi.
جيب الملقية جيب الملقية جيب الملقية.
وهذه أيضا ما
الله أكبر
لديهم
الله أكبر.
وفي كل الجبهات حيث نجد معهم أشياء لا تسر الخاطر كلها ضد الدين والأمة وضد
الله أكبر.
البشر.
In the end, this city that I knew very well became yet another Arab city gripped by militias and civil war.
I decided to leave Yemen. I watched the Iraq's dream of an independent state emerge and then collapse within a week. The south is in fragments. Yemen is now gripped not by one civil war, but by multiple civil wars.